And we are live. So welcome everyone. I'm Patricia Nisakian, founder of the Akashic Records Institute and creator of Let Your Soul Purpose Guide You, a journey to reconnect to your wisdom through the Akashic Records. And today is a very special day because we are going to start a series of Wisdom Wednesday. Wisdom Wednesday, where you can ask for your topic. We're going to keep an eye up because here in our Facebook group, we are going to put a thread so you can choose what topic you would like to for us to talk about here on Wisdom Wednesdays. These sessions are happening both on YouTube and Facebook, so I'm broadcast live on the two channels. If you're not in our YouTube channel, come subscribe so you can be notified when we go live. It's Akashic Records Institute. And I'm going to drop later the link below here. And if you are on YouTube and you're not on Facebook, do join us there too, Akashic Records Institute. So hope you're having an amazing day. Drop a hello down here if you are either on YouTube or Facebook. Let me know if this is your first live that you're going to participate, or if you already participated in the tribe. I see Elaine and Emma and Alia, and there is more of you. I see there is a couple of people on Facebook, so big welcome. I'm very excited to be here. And I did prepared a few topics, and today we're going to talk about intuition, what it is, how you can understand your intuition, and how you can develop your intuition. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to bring a few points for you, but I do want to answer your questions too. So just drop your questions either here on YouTube or on Facebook, and then at the end, I'm going to answer your questions. It's easier for me to just bring the information, and then otherwise I get sidetracked and go all over the place. So do tell me where are you watching from, and let me know how long you've been following me, or if this is your first live. I would love to hear. Now, depending on where you are, sometimes the Facebook will have a live lip, so it may be sharing inside some groups. I only can see your comments if you come to my fan page, the Akashic Records Institute. So make sure, if you're going to leave a comment, make sure to follow the original link to the fan page, so that I can see your comment right now in the live. So intuition, big topic. We're gonna need a few Wisdom Wednesdays to cover everything that it is about intuition. So this first live, I wanted to start with the first is the introduction, right? Why we that work with the Akashic Records, how can your intuition support you? And it's very important as you are learning to access your Akashic Records or learning to become an Akashic Records practitioner, that you develop your intuition. Because when you develop your intuition, you can decode the message that you're getting from the Akashic Records. There is no, one size fits all, right? When you develop intuition, the first thing that you need to do is to understand that every person is different. Every person relates to the world in a different way. So I cannot tell you it's going to take you 2 weeks for you to develop intuition. It's going to take you a month for you to develop, because every person is different. Now, everyone can develop and access your intuition once you practice, once you make a commitment with yourself to do the exercises, to do the experience necessary for you to develop your intuition. And I believe that there is always a deeper level to dive into it, right? There is always a deeper level, all of us. And because we are always learning, and we are always learning about ourselves, learning about our energy, learning about how information comes to you. Now, most people that try to develop intuition and in the beginning don't feel successful, what I experienced that happens is that most people at some point in this lifetime or a past lifetime block their intuition. And that could happen for so many different reasons. Now, we're going to talk about, the kinds of how information come to you. We're going to talk about, trust me, we're going to have time to talk about it today. I want to keep these live short for like 30 minutes. If we don't cover today, we're going to do it next week. But most of us come to this world with like this higher sense of connection. Right? Some of us are very sensitive. Some of us, have the vision very developed. You see much more than most people will see. You hear, you have this open channel of communication with spirits, guardian angels, your guides. However, most of the time, most people that I've been working with had at some point in their childhood had shut down this access. I would say when I was very, very young, I remember I was about 4 years old, and I was in this place where my dad used to work, and I just started crying like compulsively in a 4-year-old. And what I know today about that event, about not only that event, but many events in my life, is that I had a higher level of feeling, right? Intuition. I developed other channels, but as I came into this world, I was highly, highly, highly sensitive. So intuition speaks through me through feelings. Right? But when you are a child and you grow up in a family that is, new indigo child, and you grow up in a family of militaries, people don't know how to relate to you, don't know how you act in the way that you act, right? So my sensitivity was not understood, no blame here, it was just not. And so the message that I got is that I had to shut it down. I could not be this, crying ball because I could feel everyone and everything, right? And I remember this particular moment when I was 4 years old. My dad used to work in this, like in the very, like a small town, like a very poor area, right? So I remember that as I was crying, I was, seeing this dog like super skinny, and there was people on the street. So I was feeling their feelings. I was feeling, all their fears, all their emotions. And at 4-year-old, I had no idea how to deal with that, right? And I also came from a family where fear was always present. So that fear, like, it's almost like, I thought that fear was my fear, right? Until I understand and I start developing my intuition, I just assumed that was all my stuff, right? And so it's so powerful when you are able to look back and connect to that power that you once had, right? But at some point you shut it down, right? At some point I shut it down. And it wasn't until when I was 20 years old that I opened up, that I tuned into that channel, like a little over 20 years ago. So that is very, very important to understand, that all of us come, with a deeper connection to intuition. And then somehow, through your experiences, through your relationships, you end up shutting down. And people shut down because they fear, right? So when there is fear, you assume that is not good. Like the message I got, like, can't cry all the time, not okay. So shove it up, right? Swallow this, stop this, right? And sorry, there was a message here. So first of all, understand that if you feel the desire to develop intuition, if you feel draw into healing programs, into Akashic Records programs, programs to develop intuition, connect to your guides, it means you're ready for that remembering. You're ready for, reconnect to that you have, right? So you can develop it. So this is very, very important. Make sure, understand that if by any reason you block, it's, there is a way back. Now, when there is blockages to access your intuition, the best, in my opinion, the best way to start clearing it up is starting to run energy, right? And for those of you that don't know what it is, run energy, comment below. We do have a link for that. But basically, when you run energy, you ground yourself and you bring the earth energy, and the earth energy is going to move through your legs and down your ground cords, and then you open your crown chakra and you call the energy of the universe. So running energy, you have the energy from the earth and the universe. And this energy, as you learn how to run it, is going to go through your body and is going to find where are you blocking yourself. Now, what do you mean, Patricia, but am I blocking on my body? So your body has energy centers, like your chakra centers, right? And each energy center collects information regarding your memories. So all memories connected to your throat, for example, all memories connected to communication. If you did not felt heard when you were a child, or if you felt nobody never listened to you, or if you felt that when you give an opinion, people do not listen to you, what happens is you start shoving down the emotions connected to that memory, right? So maybe you that made you feel sad, so you collect that energy of sadness in your throat, or that made you feel like not important or smaller than other people, so you collect that information on your throat. But when you run energy, as you run energy, it's almost like a Roto-Rooter. Do you have this Roto-Rooter in the United States? Is that thing that if there is something plugged in your sink, they come in with the Roto-Rooter. So as you run energy, you're clearing your system from these blockages that you accumulated through your memories, right? So let me know if that makes sense, guys. Please make sure to leave your questions. So this is the first thing, number one, yes, awesome. Number one, understanding that everyone have access to the intuition. Nobody's more special than others. People just develop. And we are working on this here, right? The step by step. Number two, understand that you may have blocked at some point. Sometimes, though, those blocks are like from back, like a past life. Maybe in your past lives, you develop a particular culture or a particular religion, or, and there was some sort of experience, there was some sort of memory where it was not okay to be intuitive. It was not okay to do any form of magic or shamanism, or whatever it is that you were guided, that you had this deeper connection in the past. So what happens is, if you learn, through a very, very painful and hard lesson in your life, if you learn that, if you get thrown in a jail somewhere, or if you are thrown in a fire, or whatever that experience was, right? At that moment, you're like, whoa, this is, I lost everything because of that. I lost my family. I lost my freedom, right? And at that moment, you made a vow to yourself. You made an agreement that you're never going to, open up those channels again, right? And then you come through, and the other experiences happen, years and years pass, and here you are in a completely different environment. Nobody's out to get you nowadays, most of the time, right? and you are able and you feel called to reconnect to that wisdom, to reopen up that channel, because it is very important, not only for you, but for the planet and for this transformation that we are all going through right now more than ever. It is important to develop your intuition, not only if you are interested, if it has some connection to your work, but so you can make better decisions in your life, so you can not give your power away, right? There are so many reasons why developing intuition is critical and important, right? It doesn't have to be for someone that is going to work as an intuitive. It's a skill that will support you in everything, in your relationships, with children, with adults, with everyone, right? And especially with yourself. So that is the third point that I had, that allow that wants to be healed, and that and that is going to be different for so many people, right? Our Akashic clearings that we offer weekly help you to clear those blocks away. If it's something more like connected to a past life, I would highly suggest scheduling a session with one of our Akashic Records practitioners here from the Institute. If it is, a belief work, you may be holding on belief or feelings or emotions in your body, right? So just by running energy, you are letting go, you're surrendering, and you're opening up all your channels so you can be present and hear your intuition. Right? So welcome everyone that popped in. And as we go on, leave your questions, and I'm going to look at all the questions at the end. So, so let me look at my notes and my little bullets. So, Intuition 101, how to access your intuition. So, I would like to invite you to shift any beliefs. Start by shifting any belief that is hard. Okay, if that is a belief that you have, please let it go. You need to be open to trust, and you need to also be open to create the belief that it is easy, in a sense of, if you make things complicated and if you allow your mind to keep the chat and the chit chat, that's all you're gonna get. That's all you're gonna get, the chit chat of the mind. Like, does that mean that Patricia? Does that mean that I have to be quiet and if something comes up, I have to let it go? No. But what I mean is, I see this so many times. My students have this amazing experience, and as soon as they come out of the records, they'll be like, did I make that all up? You allow, the ego just always loves to create those doubts and creates those, trying to make it hard when it doesn't have to be. So the first thing is to allow these thoughts, not deny, but allow it and be present with it, and also acknowledge, but let it go, right? So there's a difference between, you had this amazing experience and then you doubt yourself. And as if you notice that coming up, you take a deep breath and you even say, I love that I'm making this, I'm loving that I'm creating doubt. And then, and I'm honored the experience that I just had. So you needed to understand that your mind is going to always try to create confusion. It's going to always try to keep you where you are, right? But as you continue doing the practice, as you continue being present and just noticing and knowing that you get so much more than you usually can perceive from your mind in the beginning. So number one, don't allow your mind to create doubt or confusion. But if you do notice, love it up, right? I love that I'm being confused about this. I'm loving that I'm being resistant to do my practice, so just love it up. And when you're running energy, it's also an opportunity not to try to keep the mind clean, but actually notice what comes up, right? So if you're running energy, you have a particular fear coming up, again, love that you're feeling that fear and honor that fear for it show up, because it shows up as it shows you that it's ready to be released, right? And then you allow, as you're running energy, to move that into the center of the earth, in how I explain in the meditation. But so you are clearing, right? You are no longer holding on to these emotions, fears, beliefs, or blockages from the past. So, and then what you do, like a simple exercise to start developing your intuition, is to be present. Like just, give yourself some time for like 5 minutes and do nothing. Just be present with your body. Just notice your breathing. And then you can start noticing the noises, the different noises that you see around you. Like right now, when I tune in, I could feel the noise from the fountain behind me. I can feel it's raining here, so I can feel some drops of rain back in the back over there. I can feel like the trees brushing over here, right? So the more you tune in and you be present to the things that you usually don't pay attention, right? Usually we are just on the go and not pay attention on things. So start be present, start pay attention. When you're driving, like, are you looking at everything? Especially at the cars, right? The numbers of I love looking at the numbers of the plate on other cars, the car that just show up in front of me as I'm driving somewhere, right? So look at every single thing. One thing I love to do too is like nature, like looking at the trees and looking at all the little details of the tree. So as you do this, you are teaching yourself to slow down and to notice things, right? Notice people, how people react when I'm in front of you, how they move, what they do with their hands, and like just kind of really, really set the intention to feel deeper, to see deeper, to hear deeper, to know deeper, right? To notice what you know. When someone says, oh, so-and-so did not show up today, just tune in and notice, what is about that is coming up, that you know about it, right? That is like very good beginning, like being present and noticing. One of the things that I tell my students is, when we start the Akashic Records program, is pretend that you are a 1-day-old baby, 3-day-old, 1-day-old, 3-day-old, like a very, very young baby. I had this video that my husband did of my son, and he's like, he was like, his eyes are closed, and then he opened the eyes, and he's like, oh. He's like, wow, now all this stuff here, right? So pretend that you set the intention to look through life as everything is new, as if you just, as it's like, wow, it's like, wow, water, like look how the water moves, like really, really, really set the intention to pretend that you're seeing things for the first time. When there is texture, like this is my blanket, a lot of my legs when I'm on the live teaching. So like touching fabrics and feeling things, right? And look beyond when someone that is talking to you, when you ask someone how you're doing, right? Look beyond how they are answering you, beyond the words, right? The word between the words. And then you're going to start noticing so much more. And that is how you start developing, So let me see if there is anything on my notes that I had here. Important, don't judge. don't judge yourself. Am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? How come there is not someone just popping in here and I'm seeing like I see you? And it's, you know, understand that every person intuition is different. Every person will have one particular clair that they are more, that is easier for them, right? When I came to the world like pure sensitive, I was like this huge sponge, right? And so many of people that I know also are like that, right? You don't really know, you have no boundaries between your feelings and other people's feelings. And that's probably because you have a high sense of feeling. So when I went into massage and I started developing my intuition, I developed first the clairvoyant. So I started developing my clairvoyant, and that brought it back, my feeling and my knowing, and also my hearing. So today I can access my intuition in all these ways. They just work all together. Now, what I always advise is that you choose one and then you focus on the exercise for that particular one, and then the other ones will come, right? So notice what is easier for you. If you feel like, there was a great question, which I'm going to answer here about, I'm going to read it at the end because it was just sent today here in the group. So let me know if you have questions while we're here. And next point is trust. Trust is huge, right? Because when you are developing your intuition, it's like you are, fine-tuning your channel, like your receptivity channel, how you receive information, right? So when you first develop your intuition, what most people do is, okay, I'm doing my first exercise to develop my intuition. And then you'll be like, okay, what is it? What is it coming? And then you start in your mind, right? So you're not trusting. And here it's critical that you let go of trust. When you're doing the exercise to develop intuition, to connect to the Akashic records, or whatever it is that you're doing in intuitive form, it's important that you understand that the intelligence of your body is receiving what your mind cannot understand yet. So as you're doing a meditation, for example, you're doing a journey or something, and then I say, look at what this means for you, or what is showing up for you, right? So when I say that, it's most important for you to just set the intention to receive in gratitude with your body, and know that, you are still in that vortex, even if you come out of that meditation or the journey or whatever it is that we are doing. Your intuition will find a way to bring it to you, that you receive it, right? So in the beginning is like time, which time it is not real anyways, right? So it comes in a different time sequence that we are used to, right? So you may ask a question today, and you got the answer with the intelligence of your body, and then your intuition will bring it to you in a form of a book that is just going to open up and write in the page with the question you have, or someone is going to tell you exactly what you need to hear at that time, right? So that is how it's so important to trust in the intelligence of your body that is received. It received at the time of the journey or the session or the healing or whatever that was, and then your intuition is going to find its way to bring it to you. All right. So, and I said that before. I had another point of be aware of the mind. The mind is going to try every single way possible to create doubt, confusion. So as you know it, love it up. And what else? And, the next point is understanding how intuition communicates with you. I'm going to leave this. I wanted to keep this short so you're not like 1 hour Facebook Live. So next Wednesday, we can talk about how are the forms, what ways the intuition can communicate with you. And I'm going to leave you with the last thought is that start creating a practice routine to develop your intuition, right? First thing, as I just shared today, just be present. Just sit down 5 minutes a day and just be present in your body and notice what you notice, right? If you don't know how to run energy, we can drop the link down below here or how you can start running energy. And then start the practice, commit to yourself, and know that intuition is just like a muscle. If you don't use it, it doesn't develop. It's just like, exercising in the gym, right? If you wanted to develop your muscles, if you wanted to strengthen your muscles, you go to the gym every day or 3 times a week or however works for you, right? But you need to create a schedule, a commitment with yourself. If that is something that, you're ready to take action and to really commit and see the results of developing your intuition, which is far beyond powerful for you in any area of your life, right? So let me know if you have questions. I will wait a few moments for support you. And we're going to be doing a blog from this information today. So you can, for those of you that prefer reading, it's going to be on our website, Akashic Records Institute. And let me see if I wanted to take the time now to actually look at questions. This is so exciting. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you that are live, those of you that are watching the replay, please comment below. And we are going to... I'm going to look at the questions. There was a question in my group today. From Sweden. Hello, Marita. Welcome, welcome. So here we go. Okay, it's a question from Gerda. Sorry if I'm not spelling, saying your name right. Hopefully it's okay. So Gerda said, looking for answer, I experienced through my life strange dreams that came through, a feeling pointing in the direction, and the most frequent thing is hearing a clear voice tell me something this, and these things of absolute, I'm not sure if I understand what. Okay, so Gerda, it's give an example of her intuition communicating with her. Your intuition can communicate to you in dreams, can communicate with you as a voice that, let's just say, and just knowing. So as I mentioned, next week, we're going to go into the 4 clairs, so I can talk more about that. But that's basically what this comment from Gerda is about. And so her question is this normal or I'm just losing my mind? So yes, it's normal. And so it's, from what Gerda shared, I believe she has, opening for clairvoyant, like clairaudient and claircognant. Claircognant is when you just know something, and clairaudient is when you hear your intuition communicate with you, right? And then her next question was, is it possible that it went through someone to me? It went through someone to me. My messages stopped when my little brother died, and oddly enough, I had always known that I would die at 39, and after my birthday came, when I thought it was just a mistake, until a few years later when he died. I realized that it was to be his death. Could have gotten info through him. So when you hear, right, it can come from different places. It can come from your higher self. We're going to do a Facebook Live about higher self too. It can come from spirits around you, right? So, just by reading your comment, I don't know exactly where it come from, but I would say there's two things that popped up for me as you shared. You know, at some point, for some reason, one of the experiences you had, and you know, losing a brother is a very traumatic experience, that you shut that down, right? So so here's an example of how we block our intuition, how we, because we fear what we don't know, right? What we fear, we close. So here, by developing intuition, you can open up and also connect to, I always, you know, a big part of developing intuition so you can be protected is first developing a relationship with your higher self. So your higher self, it's upfront from any guides or any spirits or, you know, anything that is, you know, is not for your highest good. So in order for you to develop intuition, it's very, very important that you first develop a deep connection to your Akashic records. I'm so sorry, your higher self. I had the Akashic records in my mind. Like in the Akashic Records program, before you learn to access the Akashic Records, you learn how to connect to your higher self. Because your higher self is going to always protect your space no matter what. So, and so that would be the first step. So this is what I had. Oops, sorry. My phone just rang. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for Gerda, your questions, and those of you that are coming and watching the replay, leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you know a friend that could benefit from this Wisdom Wednesday, please share with them so we can continue growing a beautiful community of people just like you. So thank you for being here. If there is anything you need, reach out to us here in the Institute, and I wish you an amazing day. And looking forward to see you again next Wednesday. Bye-bye. Bye, Rosie. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. You and everyone.